Before I go into the authentic listening map and start posting the various phases or steps of that map, I'd like to do a summary of the authentic speaking map. I would like to kind of summarize the authentic speaking map and kind of take all the posts we've had in the last several weeks and put them together into one consolidated map. Authentic speaking starts at the center. It starts with the concern that you have that's generating the need for the conversation in the first place, and your commitment to take care of that concern. And ideally, that commitment is not about making the other person wrong or in some way, shape, or form having you win over the other person. That commitment is to resolve the issue in a win-win relationship and to enhance or at least not do any damage to the relationship as a result of resolving that particular concern or issue. So you always start with the conversation that way. It's okay, I have a concern about how we've been working together in the last week or two on this project, and I'm committed to resolve that concern with you in a way that maintains our relationship, ideally, or actually even enhances our relationship. So are you open to that conversation? And that's kind of where you start that conversation. Once you've done that, the next step is to really talk about the facts. You know, what are the facts that have this concern come up? What happened? What happened in a meeting? What happened as a result of an interaction? What actually happened as a factual portrayal of the events that essentially generated your concern? Because out of what happened, out of those facts, you created certain interpretations and you made certain judgments, right? So that's the next step, would be to kind of explain the judgment or interpretations that those facts gave rise to. And out of those interpretations, you had essentially generated a set of feelings, all right? Feelings arose within the body. And I mean now real feelings, not thoughts disguised as feelings. I mean feelings like maybe upsetness, anger, sadness, joy, happiness, whatever those feelings are, that's what came out of the conversation. Fear is another feeling that comes out of these kinds of conversations. So you really want to deal with the feelings that arose. Once you finish that, then you want to express like what you want. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for the other person? What do you want for the team or the company, assuming this conversation is company or business related. And from there, you would say, okay, given what you want, here's what you think is possible. Here's what you think the opportunities are, meaning here are the possibilities you can see, and out of all these possibilities, here are some practical opportunities you can begin to see as available to actually take action on. And finally, you would have the action step, which is essentially request that you make of the other, offers you make to the other, which ultimately winds up in a set of interlocking promises that when you execute those promises, you essentially will have resolved the issue. So that's kind of a summary of the speaking map. Now, I've talked about it in terms of one person laying out the whole map. And we'll see later, after we do the listening map, after we do the authentic listening map, that actually authentic conversations are a two-way street, with first reaching understanding. So somebody begins to speak about essentially their concern, their commitment, what are the facts of the matter, what their interpretations and what their feelings are, and the other person listens and then reflects back on that. And then they get facts are what their interpretation is and how they feel about it. And you keep cycling in this until you essentially get a thorough understanding and there's no longer any new data to be put on the table. And then from there you would work into a kind of a part of the conversation that is aimed at reaching agreement, where you go into essentially, okay, this is what I want for myself, for you and the team and the company. Here's what I think the possibilities are, and out of these possibilities, I think these are real opportunities. And here are the actions I would suggest taking, and the other person would do the same. They would listen to what you said, they would reflect back on what you said, and then they would express their wants that they have for themselves, for you and the team or the company, what they think the possibilities are, what they think are really legitimate, what requests, offers, and promises they would make. So this is kind of a cyclical process between speaking and listening. First speaking for understanding, and then second speaking to reach agreement. Starting in the next post, I will begin to talk about the authentic speaking map, which has 5 steps or 5 stages to that particular map. And it starts with focus. Focus on what? Focus on what the person is saying that's speaking to you, and you're listening for a number of factors which we will discuss in the next post.